Okay, now let's have a look at the tools over here on the side. These will be our canvas and project setting tools. So first off is layers, which works quite a bit like Photoshop. So that's a canvas tool. It lets you set layers and change animations and things like that. I don't use layers all the time with pixel art. If you're making animation, oftentimes you're going to end up using frames instead. When you're constructing a complex animation or changing a drawing a little bit, layers can become handy quite a bit, especially if you're doing something with depth. For transforming tools, they're fairly straightforward in this tool. Our align image to center will make Mr. Blue Slime go to the center. He wasn't before. We can just go back and show you how that works again. Oh, look. So if we move him around, say we accidentally move him over to the corner, but we don't want to cut off any of his parts, so align image to center, very easy. Clone current layer to all frames, does what it says on the tin. Counterclockwise rotations will flip our little buddy around so we can quickly make an animation where he just spins. It's really good for coins or something like that. We can also flip him vertically. Now, the actual settings for the canvas and for the project start up here, and these are all of them right here. We'll start with our preferences, where we can change the background, just what the transparent background looks like, whatever's easiest on the eye. Dark gray is really good because it tells you what your pixel art is going to look like against a gray background. You can turn a grid off and on. Oops. So our pixel grid is not showing up for some reason. I don't understand why, but it's supposed to. Layer opacity does what it says on the tin. Seamless drawing mode I haven't experimented too much with, not sure what it does, and then we can also change our maximum frames per second for animation. Resizing is pretty straightforward as well. You can use these options to make your drawing smaller or bigger. It will warp though, if you're not careful. Oh, there's our grid. Probably the image was too large for it to show up, and now we can see our grid. We've also changed the size of Mr. Blue Slime. You can see that he's warped a little bit. Let's just go back. There's our grid again. Excellent. Underneath this, we have our saving system for our actual projects. Our export system, which is what I always use for GIFs for animation, which is what we'd want to do here, or PNGs for stable static pictures. We can also compress or save in other formats. We also can import pictures, so we can bring in red slime, which isn't an animation right now, just red slime. Turn that grid off. There. Red slime. So these tools are pretty straightforward. One thing to keep in mind too is when you're exporting, you can actually export and set scale. So you can make pixel perfect art at whatever scale you need to, which means only that when you're upscaling pixel art, sometimes you'll get warping effects like blur or anti-aliasing. This keeps that from happening. One of the reasons why we use pixel art tools is because anti-aliasing, which is a design process that makes it so that you don't have jaggy lines in an image at high resolutions. Anti-aliasing kills pixel art though, so we don't want that. This tool is set up so you don't have to deal with that. In our next video, we'll look at color palette and